Robert Stogner Show. I have Horus Productions from the Book of the Dead, the doctrine of eternal life. Just what did the Egyptians believe? Well, Ra created the universe and the earth and the heaven, and also he is the sun, so you cannot look upon him or you go blind. Anyways, from the book it says, from waters of chaos a mound arose. And from the mound arose a locust, and in flight became Ra, the sun god, and all of creation. So in the morning, Ra is born, and he travels through, gives us the new day, and at night dies, and then he navigates through the underworld so that the next day he is reborn, so we have another day on the earth. That's what the Egyptians believe. And the pyramid represents the mound from that Ra was created from. And the bottom of the pyramid represents all the people of Egypt. And as you go up, there's the armies of Egypt and the people that are, running everything. And then you have at the top of the pyramid the Pharaoh, which is closest to Ra. So that's what the pyramid represents. So now I'm going to read to you the doctrine of the eternal life from the Book of the Dead. Hail, Pepi, thou hast come. Thou art glorious, and thou hast gotten might like the God who is seated upon the throne, that is Ostris. Thy soul is with thee. In thy body, thy form of strength is behind thee. Thy crown is upon thy head, thy headdress upon thy shoulders, thy face before thee. And those who sing songs of joy are upon both sides of thee. Those who follow in the train of God are behind thee, and thy divine form who make God to come are upon each side of thee. God cometh, and Pepi hath come upon thy throne of Ostris. The shining one who dwelleth in Netat, the divine form that dwelleth in Teni hath come. Isis speaketh unto thee, Nephthys hold converse with thee, and the shining ones come unto the bowing down, even to the ground, in obduration of thy feet, by reason of the writing which thou hast, O Pepi. In the region of Sa thou comest forth to thy mother, and she strengthened thy arm, and she maketh a way for thee through the sky to the place where Ra abideth. Thou hast opened the gates of the sky, thou hast opened the doors of the celestial deep. Thou hast found Ra, and he watcheth over thee. He hath taken thee by thy hand, he hath led thee unto 2 regions of heaven, and hath placed thee on the throne of Ostris. Then hail, O Pepi, for the eye of Horus came to hold converse with thee. Thy soul was among thy gods, came unto thee. Thy form of power, which has dwelling among the shining ones, came unto thee. As a son fighteth for the father, and Horus avenged Ostris, even do Horus define Pepi against his enemy. And thou standeth avenged, endowed with all things like unto a god, and equipped with all forms of Ostris, upon thy throne of Kenet Amena. Thou doth that which he doeth among the immortal shining ones. Thy soul sitteth upon its throne, being provided with thy form, and it doeth that which thou doest in the presence of him that liveth among the living. By the command of Ra, it repeateth the wheat, it cutteth thy barley, and it giveth unto thee. Now therefore, O Pepi, he that hath given unto thee life, and all power, and eternity, and the power of speech, and thy body is Ra. Thou hast endued thyself with forms of God, and thou hast become magnifying thereby before the gods who dwelleth in the lake. Hail, Pepi! Thy soul standeth among the gods and among the shining ones, and the fear of thy striketh unto their hearts. Hail, Pepi! Thou placed thyself upon thy throne of him that dwelleth among the living, and it is the writing which thou hast that striketh of terror into the hearts. Thy name shall live upon the earth. Thy name shall flourish upon the earth. Thou shalt neither perish nor be destroyed forever and forever. The heavens drop water, the stars throb, the archers go round about the bones of Akuru temple, and those who are in bondage to them take to flight when they unite us, rise up as a soul in the form of a God who liveth upon his fathers and who maketh food of his mothers. Unitas is the Lord of wisdom and the mother of knowledge, not his name. The gifts of Unitas are in heaven, and he hath become mighty in the horizon, like unto Tumu, the father that gave him birth, and after Tumu gave him birth, Unitas became stronger than his father. The Ka of Unitas are behind him. The sole of his foot is beneath his feet. His gods are over him. His Uriel are upon his brow. His serpent guides of Unitas are in front of him, and the spirit of the flame looketh upon his soul. The powers of Unitas protect him. Unitas is a bull in heaven. His direct his steps where he lives upon the form which each god taketh upon him, and he earth the flesh of those who come to fill their bellies with the magical charm of the lake of fire. Uniath is equipped with the power against the shining spirit thereof, and he risen up in the form of a mighty one, the Lord of those who dwell in power. Unias hath taken his seat with his side turned towards Sep. Unias hath weighed his words with the hidden God, who hath no name, on the day of hacking into pieces the firstborn. Unias is the Lord of offerings, the uniter of the knot, and he himself maketh abundant the offerings of meat and drink. Uniath devour men, and liveth upon the gods. He is the Lord of whom offerings are brought, and he counteth the list thereof. He that cutteth off hairy scalps, and dwelleth in the fields, hath nettled the gods in a snare. He that arrayeth his head hath considered them, for Unitas hath driven them unto him, and the cord master hath bound them for the slaughter. Kenoso, the slayer of lords, hath cut their throats, and drawn out their inward parts, for it was he whom Unias sent to drive in. The Shazim hath cut them into pieces and boiled their members in his blazing calderons. Uniath hath eaten their magical powers. He hath swallowed their spirit. The great ones among them serve for the meal at daybreak. The lesser serve for his meal at eventide, and the least among them serve for his meal at night. Oh, the gods and the old goddesses become fuel for his furnace. The mighty ones in heaven shout out fire under the caldrons, which are heaped up with haunches of the firstborn, and he that maketh those who live in heaven revolve around Unias hath shout unto the caldrons haunches of their women. He hath gone around about the two heavens in their entirety, and he hath gone around about two banks of the celestial Nile. Unias is the great form, the form of forms. Unias is the chief of the gods, invisible forms. Unias before that of all the Shahu who dwelleth in the horizon. Unias is the firstborn of the firstborn. Unias hath gone round thousands. He hath offering oblations unto hundreds. He hath manifested his might as the first form through Sa. Orion, who is greater than the gods. Uniath has repeated his rising into heaven, and he is the crown of the Lord of the horizon. He hath reckoned up the battlements and the arm rings. He hath taken possession of the hearts of the gods. Uniath hath eaten the red crown. He hath swallowed the white crown. The food of Unias is the inward parts of his meat. It is those who live upon Seth forth and increaseth, and the magical charms of the gods are in his belly. That which belonged to him is not turned back from him. Unias hath eaten the whole of the knowledge of every god, and the period of his life is eternity, and the duration of his existence is everlasting in whatsoever he wisheth to take. Whatsoever form he hath shall not labor in the horizon for ever and ever and ever and ever. What a monster. The Egyptian culture is scarier than any movie or book or anything we've ever imagined. Can you imagine the fear in the hearts of people reading this? It's amazing.